I'm so very sorry to hear of your father's passing. He was a great leader in our industry. His legacy touched thousands of people, and he will be greatly missed. His contributions to the Detroit pipe trades will never be matched. The industry has lost a legend. My thoughts and prayers are with you and your family through this difficult time, and I offer sincere condolences. Legend, legacy, influence, contributions, an impactful life for sure. Dad was bought out of PPP 25 years ago, and he enjoyed a great retirement in good health. Although at the time the buyout was hard to take, and some friendships were severed, and changes wrought from it were huge. But Mom and Dad they prevailed, and they were able to enjoy the fruits of their labor. Believe me. One of Dad's famous sayings, I think he picked it up from a guy named Bill Tetloff. I'm almost positive, right, Mom? Yeah. Anyway. Thank you. Another one of Dad's sayings he used to let you know he was being serious about his dreams. Thank you very much. Yeah, another one of Dad's sayings he would use when letting others know he was being serious about his dreams. One of the dreams was involved transformation of the property on Prescott. How can we talk about the fruits of the labor without talking about the barn? The barn was a dream realized by Dad with added touches from Mom, along with the carpenters, bricklayers, laborers, electricians, pipe fitters, plumbers, and our friend David Klein. Dave came up with a suggestion for the third floor apartment, much to the chagrin of all those listed before him, except Dad. To get to the barn, the 30 acres that it rested on was transformed from farm fields. We had a ice skating rink that was dug out with a skip bucket by my dad, Billy, and Mom. And then it eventually got excavated out for a swim pond by Dullinger, I believe his name was. The coal shed that was moved from the hand school site, the cow barn that Dad built with 4-inch Schedule 80 galvanized pipe as its backbone. The lighted tennis court, Dad put in the court. His mom liked playing tennis. And he said, I'm going to get a tennis court. We put a tennis court. It was beautiful. He also put a nice deck on the back of the 3-bedroom ranch they built. They had a jacuzzi tub and a gazebo to house it. Then there was a pole barn that was adjacent to the tennis court. These things all led up to the architecture known as the barn. How did it come into existence? Well, Mom used to have a Tuesday tennis league at the house, and the pole barn was a place for wrestling and refreshment, or on the deck. Eventually, a Tuesday night men's league was formed. Food, drinks, cards, camaraderie were part of the party after tennis. Dad wasn't satisfied with the setup though. He's like, there's no kitchen, there's no bathrooms, no running water. And we used a porta-john back there. And it was just like the good old days, he said. These are the things that Dad said he wanted the new building he was going to build. He kept on saying, I'm going to build this. Here's the darn truth about it, he would say. And it happened. The barn had men and women's bathrooms, a shower, a sauna, an indoor jacuzzi, a stellar kitchen, an office, first and second floor fireplace, a stage, a bar upstairs, and 2 upstairs verandas that looked over the tennis court. And of course, the 2 bedrooms and the adjoining bathroom on the 3rd floor. A dream transformed. The barn was a magnet for social activities, tennis leagues and parties of all types, including birthdays, weddings, showers, Super Bowl parties, Thanksgivings, Christmases, New Year's, and celebrations of life. The barn also had an orchard and blueberry fields, a blueberry patch, and that the grandkids all love to go out there and pick blueberries. But all the bounties of the farm were enjoyed at the barn. It's a great life if you don't weaken. Another one of Dad's sayings. Goes with the idea that life can be fulfilling and good, but only if you persevere through challenges and don't let yourself become weak or give up. And if any of you vacation with Mom and Dad in the Keys, you were crying uncle after a couple of days. They would pack it in. You were going all over the place down there. But they vacationed a lot in Florida, and they ended up finding a place in the Keys after their friend Steve McKesson said, hey, you should check out the Keys. Well, they ended up buying a condo at mile marker 54 in Key Colony Beach, and they upgraded it to a different condo that was on the corner of the building, and they ended up gutting that and fixing it all up, and it was a beautiful place. Overlooked the ocean and the back of Cut. It was just gorgeous. So they enjoyed a lot of time down there. In fact, they spent their 60th anniversary there after they had sold it. They were able to rent it. Part of the vacation adventures involved motorcycling. Dad, with Mom on the rear seat, had ridden their Harley through all 48, the lower 48 states of the United States. It's a pretty awesome accomplishment. The first trip out west was in a Sportster. And you know much about Harleys. It wasn't their most comfortable ride, especially for Mom. They eventually upgraded to a full dresser. And Dad would take the bike down to the Keys every fall, like in October. He would drive it down, and then he would bring it back at the end of the season in May. He once drove nonstop from Washington, D.C. to Michigan. That night, as he approached the Detroit area, he thought about continuing his ride to Mackinac Bridge. It's such a beautiful night, but after 16 hours, he thought better of it, and he didn't. But he had endurance when it came to bike riding. When the chumps get lucky, it's an awful day. Dad would say that from time to time with a sports team, or others would win something that they didn't deserve. But he would often say it about himself when he's describing his golf game. Dad had 2 hole-in-ones. Not bad for a guy that rarely broke 100 on an 18-hole score. And he golfed, spent time with Mom, and Mom used to beat him all the time. There were rare times when the chump got lucky in golf. There's a lot of things I'm going to do, but that's not one of them. He would say when someone would suggest he do something. But in retirement, Dad did a lot. He helped Uncle Ralph on the farm by working the ground, picking specialty items in the field, and driving for the corn pickers. He was Captain Corn, making sure the crew kept on task and the wagons at the stand on time. Over the last few years, he began to slow down and gave up his captaincy. But he still would go out and pick, and during the harvest times, enjoy the farm, and help Mom with their canning and freezing operation every year. Young May and the Old Bust. Great Grandma Kurtzels would often say that phrase. It's kind of cold, but she was a strong German woman who told it like it was. Dad would often repeat it, basically saying life is fragile, that the young may be taken early in life, but the old must eventually pass. Of all the Kurtzels so far, Dad has lived the longest, 88 years. He took that title from his grandmother, who lived till she was 87. What do they do in Canada when it rains? Dad would ask people that question, mainly his grandchildren. They complain about the rain. And the answer is, they let it rain. They let it rain, sorry, you didn't hear me. It's a form of acceptance, accepting the state you're in at the time. They let it rain. Those are the last words I personally heard Dad say as he lay in the hospital. He answered that question from one of his grandchildren, Thorne. Dad lived a full life. He accepted what was coming next. From the good old days to the best of days, leaving his mark on all our lives, helping others, believing in others, getting most out of people. And his generosity overflowed in his life. In fact, he wanted all of you to know, just like the sign on the bar says, Bill's buying one more time. Believe me. Thank you. This time I'd like to ask my sister Leslie to come up and say a few things.